Testing the microphone. Hello. Is it the right microphone? Yes. Desktop audio. Yes. Let's open the camera. Yes. The camera, there was video, it's just the camera has a physical cover over it so that when your Intel management engine gets hacked, the Russian hackers cannot automatically see into your apartment unless you lift that. However, they can hear because, of course, there's no physical disconnection for the microphone. So, yeah. Okay, let's give people a chance to show up. If anybody saw the previous audio live stream questions from late last week, or sessions, this would be a good time to ask any questions you have about work that was done there, because we're going to sort of continue that. Why multiply uses make vector while transform just return to local variable? Because sometimes, you know, whatever. It's fine. Got some chocolate that I brought home from the office. Is it as much of a mess to support all types of audio devices chips as it is for video cards? No. In fact, it is almost no effort. The reason is because, well, two reasons. One is that audio devices are just not that complicated, and the interface is not complicated, unlike graphics drivers. The second reason is we don't use most of the audio features that people give to us anyway. A, for complexity reduction, and B, because there's not really any need to, because audio is a relatively low bandwidth thing, and C, for consistency across platforms. Our engine mixes all of its own audio, so all we do is, you know, we output 2-channel audio to a stereo device, or 5.1 to a 5.1 device, whatever, right? We do all the mixing, whatever spatialization, which frankly has not been much so far. But we just do all that in software, and there's no reason to do it in hardware. So yeah, for all those reasons, we do it ourselves, and that minimizes problems. If we could do software rendering, like if that was a fast enough thing to do, then we would have almost no bugs in our game ever, because 99% of our support issues are graphics driver problems. It's crazy. We were talking about polymorphic functions. Is that the same thing as destructuring? I don't know what destructuring means. You have to explain that. You've got to understand there are a lot of different programming language communities. And a lot of the times people have their own names for something that's exactly the same as somebody else's thing, or different, but not in enough of a different way that it should have its own name, but it just does, right? Like I could imagine what destructuring means, but I'm not sure. Does the office have chocolate? Oh yeah, we order high-end chocolate all the time. Our last delivery melted though because FedEx didn't deliver it when they were supposed to, so that was sad. We ate it melted though. First chunk of your Witness playthrough was super low FPS because of some NVIDIA bug at launch. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry about that, but there's not much we can do, right? Even if it works on the NVIDIA drivers that are current when we ship the game, NVIDIA can always and frequently does ship a new driver for some devices that now doesn't work again, right? So it's an issue. The only way that'll ever stop is once we stop having such complex interfaces to graphics cards. All right, it's time to do some audio work. Last week we were doing something with audio. I frankly don't even remember what because I do so many different things these days. Maybe also I'm getting old. That's a scary thought, but it's possible. Let me check on YouTube to see what the hell we were even doing. Sound tweaks. Oh, the tweak file. Right, I remember now. So we made this sound tweaks file, and with it we had the ability to control randomization of sound effects and how loud they play, and how much pitch randomization. And let me turn off the boiling water. How much pitch randomization and volume randomization happens when they play and all that. So now the next thing that I was going to do is implement a debug HUD, which shows you what sounds are playing, and where they are in the sound effect and what rate they're playing, right? So that you can just debug issues. And I was going to start just by copying the one from the Witness, but then make it more elaborate and sophisticated because I can think of some cool stuff that we could use. And then there's also another thing, which is that our backend right now only supports stereo output, and that's a problem. So I probably won't get to it tonight. I certainly won't get to it tonight, but I want to sometime this stream expand the support in the backend from just stereo output to like all the way up to 7.1, 5.1, and whatnot. I don't know how I'm going to test that. Maybe I can bring home like a 5.1 system, or maybe I can set Windows up to think it's using 5.1. Anyway, we'll do something. So that'll be a few streams this week, I'm sure. Are there any questions about that, about the game plan here? Because I am gonna close some windows and update Sokoban. Because I forgot to do that. Oh, conflicts. Yeah, I edited a level both here and at work. So we'll revert that level here. Look at all the work we do on this game. Look at that. It's like we're really working on a real game. Let's update the compiler. All right. So let me revert any. Yeah, Bardstone test. Let's revert all that. Now that's still, I don't think that's enough. Let's go there. Bardstone test. Hope people are ready with audio questions when I finish. Delete unversioned items. We need to do that as well. All right. All right, that's it. So we compile, we run. All right. Let's start on a level that has Creative Commons music so that we don't get banned by YouTube or Twitch. Here's how I control what level I'm starting on. And I think that'll do it, right? I don't remember. I'm pretty sure this is Creative Commons. All this music is temporary. We're of course going to do something better later on, but yeah. Okay, so right now I have a keybind. Here that says F2 toggle debug mode audio, but when I press F2, nothing happens. So our goal is going to be first to make something visible happen when I do that, and then we'll make it go. How is the desktop audio compared to my mic audio as well? Dun, 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 dun. When you think of destructuring, you think of something like x, y equals get point. That has nothing to do with polymorphism. But it's a different person saying that than who asked it. Okay, congratulations on releasing your first game. Oh, you worked on Islands of Nine. That's cool, man. That's yeah, that's a serious game. Congratulations on getting that out. Do we build more or less dev debug tooling than other game dev companies? I don't really know. You know, everybody has their own style. I would say for the size of game we do, we're probably typical. We don't put a great deal of investment into visualization tools, but we also, you know, we also do spend time on that. So, yeah. When you publish a library with C, you send a binary file along with a header file. How will something like this work in this language? Well, my preference is going to be there's a different answer for the near term than the long term, right? In the near term, it's going to be source code only. So, well, okay. The language's official facilities in the near term will support source code only, which means that if you wanted to sell a library, you would only be able to sell source licenses, right? Or you could, just like in C, give out a compiled library and then people link against the compiled library. You can do that here just like with anything. The thing is that you then lose a lot of the advanced functionality of the language because you're linking against a dead binary, right? So that's not preferred, but you could do it. In the long term, I think we're going to support a format that is less readable than source code, but that that preserves all of the power of a source representation in terms of the ability to, custom compile various procedures and do introspection on them and stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Introspection is a question that we have to bring up with people because, maybe you don't want your library introspected. We'll see. Like, those decisions have to be made, but the goal is to get the base language out first. Is my mic too high up? Is it totally in the frame? Yes. Let's put it down here. Would the obfuscated format be a relatively direct mapping to this language's VM bytecode? Well, it's undecided. It would either be bytecode or it would still be a tree representation, right? The people I've spoken to who sell commercial libraries have indicated that there's a certain amount of obfuscation that's kind of enough, right? Because you're just trying to put up a barrier to it being easy to people. Right? If people really want to go through a lot of effort, then, there are libraries to reverse engineer x64 machine language back into ugly source code and stuff. And people will use those if they're sufficiently motivated. So, it just has to be enough. But what that means in terms of this language's functionality has to yet be determined. So we're working on the core language first. Where did the waterfalls go? They're here. They're just not animated right now. We're revamping the material system. So, certain things are broken or don't look that good right now, but they will look good again later. Okay. So let's go make sure toggle debug mode audio actually does something. Oh, it's developer, is it key map? Where did I put it? Toggle debug. Player control. Okay, unimplemented. Toggle debug mode audio. Okay. Debug draw audio. Info is not debug draw audio info. Let's go to HUD. Where's this? Where's debug draw shadow map? I just want to be consistent about where this program is so slow. God, you're searching 100 files. It should be instant. Player can, what? Oh, debug draw. Right, HUD. This HUD is for the, sorry, this is for the game HUD that the player sees. Debug draw is like the developer HUD, right? So debug draw, let's call it sound info. Okay, so we're going to put this at the top. Do draw sound info. Well, does someone, nobody draws text? Oh, we have a whole, the reason I was getting confused about HUD is this HUD file actually draws text. So I'm going to say we're just going to okay, so not Bing, big, small. Okay, so we've got 2 fonts to work with, which is generally a good number. So yeah, here we're sort of manually drawing text with a shadow offset. We'll let this code continue to exist this way, but we'll do it our own way. So we're going to set the shader. Okay, draw text here. So, well, let's just do it. Draw shadowed text. Because you want it to be visible against a background. So audio font big, say X, Y. Just going to say effect is 0. I don't know if that needs to be a specific type. Let's just say text. Let's just do that. Okay. And then shadowed text, dynamic font. We're just trying to get something on the screen, that's all. What is effect? Font effect flags. So we're just going to have a hard-coded background color right now. And we're just going to do this. We're offsetting it diagonally. So we have some get shadow offset. And our background goes in the X by minus that amount and the Y by minus that amount. So we're going left and down because our text coordinate system is actually right-handed because I like right-handed coordinate systems. So I don't know if we're going to have any float to int problems or anything. There we go. Okay. So X is render target. Actually, we're not drawing this. We're drawing this on the back buffer. So our render target might be a different size than the back buffer. But generally, you know, because it's expensive to draw in 3D, so you might draw into 3D at a lower res target and then stretch that. But you always want to draw your text after that, if you can help it, because you want your text to be one-to-one with your display size so that it doesn't get blurred and stretched, because blurred and stretched text looks terrible. So back buffer width times 0.1, y is back buffer height times 0.5. Okay. What did we screw up? Number mismatch. Wanted S64. An argument. Oh, God. All right. So I passed in floats because, like, I never can decide if I want my text coordinates to be float or int, which is why I'm going to have this mess. But we don't have back buffer width. Okay. what's it called? Feedback, back buffer. Display width. All right, that's what. I think that's the right thing. Okay. FG color. Let's call this FG color up here. All right. Let's see what's going on in chat. What you up to tonight? We're doing audio stuff. Did we ever have a stream on the material system? No, and we probably won't because I'm not working on that. Ignacio's doing that. All right, so, well, I'm not seeing anything. Oh, and it's because we're never calling this. I defined do draw sound info. Do draw sound info. We need that or nothing's going to happen. Okay, there we go. So we have a hello sailor. It's maybe not as shadowed as I would like. I actually don't like it being shadowed to the left. Let's shadow it to the right. I like writing down. There we go. Okay, so I can toggle this. That's great. And then let's do another color just below that. Often programming is just about traction, getting traction like this. And then once you have traction, like once you've built the structure, now you can fill in the container. Like all of this is just getting ready to do the thing that we want to do. What's it called? I don't know why this is in frickin', yeah, we got to talk to Ignacio about this. Stride. What's it called? What's it called? We need to do a whole stream on revamping this. Oh, default line spacing, there we go. So whatever this font is, audio font big dot default line spacing, so we're going down by that much. And now we're going to do audio font small, right? And we'll do FG color small and .5. That's great. And let's put it a little higher on the screen. Because we're going to want to start displaying things and go down. This is FG color small. Audio font big dot default line spacing. Well, you can't minus equals a float 32. That's interesting. That seems like something we want to think about enabling. All right, so boom, 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 boom. Look at that. So that's all we need to start drawing informations. Information. With the Unity build compilation model we are using, it will be a problem when building large programs on machines with relatively low amounts of RAM. So I would need to load everything in one go, like a Raspberry Pi. Well, I mean, I don't know. I haven't thought about, like, how much memory does a Raspberry Pi have? And how big of a program are you trying to compile? All right, so we have our hello sailor here. That's great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the witness audio HUD and just kind of paste over some C++ code. You know, maybe I should make a debug draw folder and put like one system per file. It's not, it's a 100-line file so far, so it's not worth it yet. But, you know, feels like maybe the audio debug screen should be its own file. I feel like we will do that eventually. For now, we just want to get the information on the screen. So let's do that. So I don't remember. Okay, it's in HUD.cpp and witness, I think. Maybe. Oh, this is subtitles? Maybe not. I don't think this is the right file in the witness. Nope, this is user-facing HUD. See, the audio debug screen is not in. This is like our rendering debug system. The audio debug stream is not in there. Well, this is popping up on a different monitor. Oh, God. Retarget projects, whatever. Just let me search. Let me search. Debug draw. Draw audio status. There we go. Oh, it is in HUD.cpp. Draw audio status. There we go. This is what I was looking for. So this is the thing that I basically just want to port over. And it just says like, well, there's, you know, we'll skip the footstep stuff because that has no analogy in this game. But here, you know, we copy some stuff out of the sound player about what are the sounds and what's the history. And we sort some things, and then we do draw stream entry, which just draws a line of text for every playing sound. So we're just going to paste-a-roni all this and cut it down and do all this. So, all right. All of this is going to be different because we're in a different system where things are called different things and they're structured differently. So it may even take a while for us to get through this, but we'll see. Is it just called sound player? Yeah. Make that a convenient alias. We're already in text shader. Okay. For these. Okay. Because rather than having, like when you have hard-coded stuff in the program like this, not only can you not change it, but nobody's ever going to find these and understand that they have these controls that they can use on this debug screen. Whereas if it's documented in a keymap config file, somebody new on the team or whatever, even someone who's been on the team forever but forgot, can go look at that file and say, oh, here's a thing that I could bind. Yeah, you know, I totally have my ideas for what PUBG : Good Edition would be. We're just making so many games right now, I can't do it. First Raspberry Pi had only 512 megs, the third has 1 gigabyte. Yeah, I don't exactly know what the compiler's memory usage is right now. I just haven't cared enough to profile it. So I can't say. I assume that's 1 gigabyte with virtual memory though, right? So yeah. No, PUBG Good Edition is not called Fortnite unless you're 13 years old. All right, now, well, we're just going to keep, if I hit F7 right now, we won't compile because we have C++ code in the middle of our program. So let's just illustrate that. So our current job is to be able to compile again. That's easy, right? So we're going to say character width is get string width. I believe that works, right? Yeah. And instead of using, I want to get away from using hard-coded 32-bit integer colors because especially if you're in HDR, it's not enough precision. You really want to use floating point colors. So I'm switching to that. So FG color A is 1111. That's 4 floating point ones. FG color B, V4, 11.15. Very loose translation. And then background color we don't worry about because our draw shadowed text is going to automatically do background color for now. Int retired is count retired decoders. Okay. We don't have that yet. Incomplete. Count retired decoders. Okay. If it's called mixer is the module. Okay, if very easy. V4 1.1.11. So it goes red, green, blue, alpha, right? And then draw shadowed text, font X, Y, FG, color, text, effect. And what was it called again? Default line spacing. Okay. Great. So now, okay, text is tprint. This. We're just going to tprint and right. So we're going to copy this. We're going to use FG color A. And then all this footstep stuff is going to go. For now, because we don't have that in this system. All right. Grab the mutex and copy the data out. So lock player.sound mutex. I think these are pointers. Actually, let's make, I'm going to start making a list of what other things we could do. So I think these are pointers because they go back to the day when the way I was minimizing my C++ build times was by forward declaring pointers so you don't have to include header files everywhere. But at this point, that's a lost cause in C++ because it impacts performance too much. So, so cleanups in mixer. We'll do that in one of these streams before we finish with our audio series. Yeah, Twitter is very, very frustrating. Even today, like just the amount of dumb things that people will say on Twitter, like, and it's not that dumb to them, which is why it happens. They're just like, they don't think that much about what you said, and they just blurt out the first objection that they think of, and you're like, really? You're just not going to think about what I said at all? You're going to force me to explain the thing that you should understand? Like, it's just super frustrating. So I just, yeah. Okay. So I don't need to do this and this mem copy, right? History. I can just say this is player.history, and we'll do a full array copy because we're a high-level language. All right, that's just in global space right there. Unlock player.sound mutex. What do we do better than others? Only for dev, or does it also affect programs written in it? I can't explain that. I mean, you're asking a question that is answered by many hours of YouTube videos. At some point, we're going to have a summary that takes less time, which will be good. You know, we'll have a web page that you could read or some annotations where you can jump to what you want to know about. But right now, there's no good summary. So you can go watch YouTube videos if you're curious. Other than that, you gotta wait. Gotta wait, gotta wait, gotta wait, gotta wait. Oh, thanks. I'm glad you like the games. That's why we're working hard on more games. Unlock. Why did that? Oh, redeclaration of text. That's the real problem. Okay. No, still. Oh. Why is it saying line 101 here, but it's reported? That's a bug. That's a bug in my new line. All right. What's going on the list? The compiler tries to be smart about context if there's a lot of blank spaces and like not report the context, but it's reporting the wrong line. It should report only this line, but it's reporting only that line. So there's a goof. And we already do that anyway. Get audio output channel names. And instead of array adding, we're just going to return some temporary allocated stuff. Right? For handler.channel names array add, yeah. Let's just do a reserve so we don't spam the memory. It's like that. I hope nobody else was using that yet. All right. So then we just say names is this. That's one of the nice things about temporary storage. Like you would in a Lisp-like language or something, you can just return an array of things. It just works. It doesn't, it's not spammy. Okay. Let's move this to right there because we'll put it right before we use it. Channel is it index. Pre-pass to get the max magnitude 4. We just say for history. Low is it.low subchannel high. Just look at how much more terse code gets, right? All right. For name in names, draw audio output channel. This is incomplete. Again, we don't care yet what we're drawing. We're going to make that a higher priority. But, you know, we're just, why are we reapplying shader text? Oh. Anyway. Let's pause there and make sure we compile and stuff. Not all control paths return a value. Oh, hope somebody caught that. Number mismatch. Line 79. Oh, no, it's not there. That's the problem. It's this. Yeah, I never know what to do there. All right, so we print one extra thing, which is this audio status. Okay, so let's get rid of our hello sailors. And we'll say, are we using character width? Yeah, not yet. Let's just make this audio font big. And we'll make this font big. And we'll get rid of the hello sailors. All right. Okay. None of this hello sailor stuff. Now it almost looks like we care about what we're seeing. Still not very exciting, but we're getting somewhere. Ever read Infinite Jest? Yes, I have read Infinite Jest. It's a good book. Although it's also a very depressing book. Oh, there's someone streaming The Witness. That's cute. When the parser gives an error message, it might help to print the grammatical context, like the definition of the non-terminal grammar term of the thing that the compiler was trying to parse. I'm not sure I understand. If you could give me an example. Do you mean like when trying to parse a statement or an expression? Like that doesn't seem that useful to me. And that's not really a concept. The way our parser works, we don't have that concept, so we would have to put it in, and it doesn't sound very useful to me. But if you mean something else than that, then yeah, maybe. Okay. You know what? We're going to have to. Well, let's do a print. Let's see if we get any print there. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Hey, those are our audio channels because we're outputting to stereo. That's great. Let's do draw audio output channel. So that is another thing that we haven't even pasted. Draw audio output channel. So now we're digging ourselves an even deeper hole. Oh my God. All right. Well, let's put it down here. Even more C++ code. Draw audio output channel. Ending index is an int. Font is a dynamic font. X is a float. Y is a float. Width is a float. All right, so we're providing dividing by 0 here. We're going to say width is height times 20. I see. I think we just say apply shader. This, we do define a background color because I think we're actually going to draw some rectangles. Draw quad. All right, here we go. I don't remember what our draw quad was called, but immediate quad here. Immediate quad. Float, 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 float. Okay. Undeclared identifier I. No apply shader? What? Oh, it is called apply 2D shader. Okay. Dude. All right, one thing at a time. Did not match any of the possible overflows. Wanted float given int. Really? See, this float versus int thing on core, if I got my act together, it would be fine. X is float, Y is float. Let's make height a float. All right. Let's just say index. Character width. Let's make that a float. We're just all, oh, it is a float. Number mismatch. Yep. All right. Do we get a rectangle on the screen? Well, it is a quite large rectangle. I don't think that's really what we wanted, but that's what we got. Are we passing a terrible height? Height 62, that doesn't seem bad. Oh, I bet it's, okay. It's x0 plus width. Yeah. So we went from like a relative coordinate routine. There we go. So this is where our sample history for the two buffers is going to be. Okay, so let's do some things. Rate is get audio sampling rate. So we're using temporary storage for these. Okay. Okay. Now, we can do a sort. So in C, if you're using QSort, you have to like declare a separate thing, right? Let's go look at what that was, but we can do that inline here. We had compare streams by ID. So we're just looking at the entity ID that's on these things. Let's make sure it's called entity ID. Maybe it's still called portable ID. Nope, entity ID. Yeah. Okay. So sort let's use quicksort. Quicksort playing streams and A, B, A dot, whoops, A dot, right? And then the same with silent. I think that's right. So, you know, we don't need to do all these other arguments that quicksort takes in C because this is, you know, generic and all this stuff. Okay. And of course, this is a polymorphic procedure that'll polymorph to whatever we need. And then we draw a stream entry. Don't have a plus plus. So we don't have draw stream entry yet. So that's fine. Oh boy, we got our colors. B is blue is less. Okay. So we're getting there. Yeah, these are different. Wait, what? Now I'm confused about where we even were. Oh yeah, okay, we're here. All right. Wanted sound stream, given pointer to sound stream. Where's that? Wait, no? Oh, right. These think they're by value, but they're not. Those are pointers. Okay. We're getting there. We're doing so much typing. Nothing new on the screen. And the reason there is nothing new is because these are now commented out. Draw stream entry, which is yet another thing. Look at all this. Oh my God, draw checkboxes. We're not going to do those yet. Oh my God. But We're finally going to draw some text. It's going to be awesome. How's chat doing? You seem to be keeping your graphics calls low level. Do you think it's better to remain somewhat low level instead of abstracting a lot with interfaces and classes on top of DirectX? I mean, what you just saw there was the abstraction. Like, saying draw quad is the abstraction on top of OpenGL that the rest of the engine uses. So I don't understand the question. Supposedly Fun Thing I'll Never Do Again is that's a good book. It's very entertaining. Very entertaining. Does AutoCast still do type checking to make sure the cast is valid? Well, so all AutoCast does is pretend like you typed in a cast, right? So it has to be a cast that the compiler understands, right? You can't do an AutoCast if the compiler has no idea how to convert that type to a different type. You'll get an error. It'll say, I don't know. You thought Finnegan's Wake was easier than Gravity's Rainbow? What kind of weirdo are you? I'm going to heat up some more tea. Back in a second. I don't understand how anyone could think that Finnegan's Wake is easier to understand than Gravity's Rainbow. That is bananas. That is bananas. Dude, you keep lying about this early access thing. I don't appreciate it. Stop fibbing. Yeah, you did save us from that circle, and it was the 17th time that you had said, hey, if we get out of this, then do I get early access? No, the first time was the time that counted, and we didn't get out of it. So that's the time that I said yes was the first time. By the time we get to time number 374, it doesn't count anymore, man. I've been doing good. A lot of work to do. I haven't been doing much PUBGing lately. Although I did play a lot during the event pass. And I got the cool glasses that you need to chicken dinner on Sanhok in order to get. So that was good. Solo chickened Sanhok a few times. Okay. So we need to paste draw stream entry. I don't think I pasted this yet. Nope. So let's put an incomplete here, because we got to come back and enable that. And then let's do this, and Oh, you know what? We're going to leave that because we're going to want to do a graphical depiction of that later on. Okay. Okay. Draw, stream, entry. Oh, T's ready. Got a pointer to a sound stream. Did I V4 these or? Yeah. FG color A. Vector 4. FG color B. Vector 4. BG color. Vector 4. Y is a float. Count is an int. Character width is a float. Rate is a float 64. Small, get rid of the static buffer. Checkbox width, font dot character height times 1.1. Bitmap margin. Look at all this bitmap stuff that I'm not even going to turn on yet. If I had a good Emacs macro to line these up, I would. All right. Sound is fine. Clean up. The sound stream actually stores the entity manager ID, so we don't have to actually guess about this. But for now we do. Sigh. This will be wrong in some cases. It's fine, we're just getting started. Okay. We're looking for a sound entity in is that what we say? Get entity manager, yeah, menu. And then we have the menu audio. So if we don't find the sound there, we find it in menu audio, entity manager. If sound, no sound return. If sound.entity type is not equal to issued sound return. Let's call this, and then we're going to say sound is down. I need a better name for down, but we're going to go from the entity to the specific subclass. All right. All right. Let me grab my tea. Grab my tea. This is basically the same eye tracker that all the streamers use. All right, back in a second. Okay. You're not saying you remotely understood the wake, just said it was easier to read than rainbow. I think you are smoking crack. Choice between struct, pointer to struct, how does it differ? You have to be more specific with that question. How does that differ when? And how and why? And hootenanny. Okay, we're not going to draw any checkboxes for now, because those are just for toggling whether it's on or not, which we will deal with later. We're going to t-print. Oh. Because we want to format this. We format our entity IDs a little bit differently than the witness does. So we do that. We draw a font line. We're calling that draw shadowed text. Okay. So we just draw this little M in there if it's a menu. Menu sound. And then, so sounds can be all these different categories, and we want to just print a different string, right? So if the sound category is equal to any of the following, we do things. Don't need the breaks. We don't even really need the spaces here. I don't know why I put those. Okay. Draw shadowed text. Oh, we can't call this string. Call it category string, which is a longer name, but whatever. String is a type in this language. Okay, let's just see what happens. That should put some things on the screen once we get it working. Ah, it's sound. Unable to parse an expression to the right of this binary operator. Oh, because we don't use that. We do that. And then we want incomplete here because we plan to do those. Find is not found. Proceed. Oh, right. So because we're calling it with an integer, passing these in the wrong order. Passing these in the wrong order. All right. Is it called entity issue sound? Yep. Too many arguments, want 6, got 7. Do I recommend any books for the youngsters? I don't have book recommendations. I'm sorry about that. I mean, well, it depends on what kind of book you mean. Line 285. Font. Text, foreground, background, XY effect. Font. Oh. Art. Things are totally in the wrong order. You know, why did I do it in that order? I'm going to change it, even though this means I have to go back and... In fact, maybe text should be first, but whatever. Whatever. We're... Wanted vector 4 given float 32? Why is that a float 32? Oh. Wait, why does it say argument 4, but it's drawing argument 5? Oh. Okay, that was messed up. There's too many things on, oops. Too many things on the stack to push that on the stack right now. Okay. My arguments are totally in the wrong order now. Now we have X and Y. And we're not doing background color, which is why we had the wrong number of arguments. Maybe I should do background color, but I'm not. Wanted 6, got 7. This is what happens when you port things from one code base to another. Just stupid changes like this. So draw stream entry. BG colors V4000.8. That's a alpha 0.8 black. 64. Character width. Frickin' character width. All right. Finally. Hey, we have exactly some lines per sound effect that start to show some data. They're alternating between white and yellow because that is what we did to make it more readable. The 1-1 is the music, and I guess we don't draw anything for music, a category, which we should. The numbers slowly going up or just the NEIDs are increasing over time. So that's great. After all this typing, we finally got to a place where we can see some things. Right, if I push some blocks, we're going to see more. Okay. Now let's draw some more information. I actually want that font to be bigger. Because really now. All right, that's going to be good for us. Let's start this out higher up the screen. Oops. Okay. And you know what? I thought our x coordinate was reasonable, but I'm just realizing that my window is starting, it's like starting under the Windows taskbar. Oh, it's fine for now. We'll fix it later. Okay, we're finally starting to get some information, and we're getting to the low-hanging fruit here. So we were in the middle of this, all these columns, right? Right? Let's not draw a font line. And then this X and Y, we're not doing background color, doing X and Y, X and Y. All right. There we go. Now you can see the names of the sounds and the volumes over there on the right, although that's pretty far. We'll see if we can see other information. It's almost like we're actually getting information about what's happening in our game. Right? Okay, let's get some more information about what's happening in our game. And then how many channels? We're gonna have more information, except it goes way off the screen. So let's pull those numbers in. Like these really are not great. But wait, it's character width? Okay. I think we're using the big font instead of the small font. Nope. How is that even? It doesn't seem right. We need to get these more scrunched together. whatever. Get font string and pixel length in pixels might be kind of broken. All right, this is fine for now. Oh, it's a little too squidged. This is a stupid hack. We're just going to put an incomplete there. We'll figure it out later. We just want to get stuff on the screen right now. What backend am I currently using? X64. That's still not going to be quite enough, but I forget which margin is which. I should name them better. There we go. I just wanted more room between the entity ID and the string that says props or whatever. Okay, so this is fine. Our audio name is probably a little gratuitously wide. Okay, that's good. And then after volume, we don't need that much on volume. I don't know what's going on. There we go. There we go. Okay. Now, more information. Tprint. We need a more convenient way to print floating point numbers than doing this, but whatever. For now, this is how we do it. Okay, and if there's a decoder, which there is for the music, tprint, whatever pages, decoder, pages, count, shadowed text, font, pages, line, X, Y, FG, color, effect. Oh, and then our closed comment must go. And our typoed N must go. Rate line. Why did I call this rate line? This is T line. Tprintf. All right. Now, there we go. See, so this is the number of pages, that thing on the right. It's the number of pages that are currently in cache for a dynamically uncompressed OGG file, because we don't decompress the whole thing at once. So that's how we know that that's not running away, and it isn't. So that's good. Okay, that's everything that we're going to want out of this procedure right now. So this T equals 29, 30, 31 is telling us where in the sound effect we are. It's a 2-channel source effect. We're playing it at 1.0 rate. What was our command for playing a dummy sound effect? Anyway, rate is always 1.0 right now, but if we put things in our all.sound tweaks that have rate modifiers on them, then you'll see rate modifiers. Oh, the move sounds are being ducked. Wait. Okay. We got to get rid of this hard-coded stuff. Move sound. Yeah. Divider move. We want versions 2. So we get rid of this hard-coded variant. We get rid of the volume. I mean, let's just get rid of all this. Okay, great. Whoa, that didn't work. Sounds was not able to find asset fighter move. Oh, I didn't save all that sound tweaks. There we go. Gotta save the file. If you don't know what this is, we did that in the previous streams. So, you know, you can go back and check that out. Okay. This is great, but these black rectangles up there are not doing anything. So now we're going to turn our attention to those. And we're going to make those do things. Which is what happens here. Is width afloat? Yeah. Wait, that's how we do that. Getting confused. Whoops. I'm doing the wrong loop. I'm doing the wrong loop. Okay. Let's just convert it straightforward so we don't screw up. I was trying to be smart, but it's late at night and I was tired. I was not smart, I was tired. All right, so I'm gonna do this, gonna do this. Our draw quad is gonna be wrong. Apply 2D shader, shader's text, and not draw a font line. As always, it's draw shadowed text font name XAYA font FG color effect. I don't think we have effect. Okay, so there's going to be some things not right yet. That's not how we cast here. That is how we cast. Oh, XX is not a variable name. Undeclared identifier I, right? I'm getting tired, folks. Okay, draw quad. It's immediate quad. And it's ARGB color. Get string width in pixels. Auto cast that. Shoudrids. What does that look like? Well, I don't think I really see anything in those boxes, which is a drag. Either we're not drawing the data correctly, or we're not looping over it correctly, or there is no data to be had in the history. The audio system may not be saving the history, in which case we need to go do that. Okay. Well, oh, we are getting the names of the channels, though. You see them right there left of the rectangles. It says left and right. That's good action. But we are not I'm just going to spam some stuff to standard out here. So low and high. Oh, we're spamming. It's making us go slow. It's all zeros. All right. Update history. Oh. That defaults to false. Let's set that to true. See if that helps. Hey, look. That looks suspiciously like the same thing in two different channels. But oh, hey, down there, see that channel in gray? That's the silent channel representing the music. It's still counting up, and then if we turn it on, it's back. This really looks too much the same between the channels, but I don't have a good test sound for that right now. Music could be mono. Let's see. It looks too damn mono. Maybe we're accidentally playing everything mono. Like that could be happening right now. I suspect we might be accidentally mixing everything the same in both channels, which would be a thing to debug. This is a song that we don't have the license to right now. We're not going to use it in the final game. We're going to have custom music, but I don't want to get banned by YouTube. So we want to investigate mixing into mono. That'll be a good thing to do on a different stream because, you know, we're going to have to handle multiple, like if we output to 5.1 and all that, we need to make sure that we're outputting correctly to 5.1. So I feel like we're mixing everything into a mono mess. But this is enough to check in and be happy about. So I think we are now, this was how much I wanted to get done today. So we are now, oh wait. No, not quite, because we're just printing that 0R up at the top with our dummy retired equals 0. The rest of the incompletes in this file I could leave incomplete till later, but here I want to fix that. So count retired decoders. Count retired decoders. Don't we need to take a mutex for that? Apparently not. That seems like a really bad idea. When we destroy a sound stream, that's not good. Why did we not need a mutex on that? This shouldn't be a global for now. Dude, none of this should be a global. I don't know. Right now it doesn't matter because this only happens in main thread for one sound player. But if you were to instantiate more than one for some reason, I don't know. I need to think about it. It's too late at night. This could be bad. But whatever. Retired. Whoops. Now the irony is it's going to say 0 anyway all the time. Because we don't retire any decoders except for on rare frames when we play a different sound. So I mean, not even then, I guess. Well, whatever. It's good enough for now. Hey, we got subscribers. Welcome, subscribers. Turn off capture history when not showing audio HUD. We could do that. Yeah, okay. Let's do that. The thing is, no, let's not do it yet. Leaving this on, even if audio HUD is since we want it to be newly updated, not stale, the frame we open the display. But what we can do is we can say if developer do this, right? So in our shipping binary, we're not gonna do that. Only in developer mode. Thank you for suggesting that. All right. Yeah, it looks like we're mixing everything into mono sludge, but that's fine. We'll fix it. Or we're displaying mono the same between both channels. We will debug that next time. Any questions about anything here? Or general engine or language programming questions? We're going to do cooler stuff. Like, you know, we need to do a stream where, like I said, we handle 5.1 and whatnot. And then I want to do a thing where I draw where the speakers are in space, you know, because we have some idea of where that is, and then where each sound is relative to the speakers and all that. That'll be cool. How do you handle errors? Fail on first error or any error recovery. You mean for the compiler? It depends. For undeclared identifiers, we report to you all undeclared identifiers in the program. For other things like semantic errors, we bail out after the first error right now because we don't want to have an error cascade like happens in C++. I think eventually when we compile during the semantic phase in a more modular way, I think we'll probably report one semantic error per file, or maybe even per procedure. But we don't do that right now. We just stop after one semantic error right now. Why don't I use Dear ImGUI? Well, it's written in a completely different programming language, and part of what we want to do is give people native code that they could use here. So, you know, I'm giving people a text drawing in the standard library that they can just use, as opposed to having to use something foreign. If I encountered anything that I'm not certain how to fix or improve, mostly language semantic stuff. Like, I don't totally like the constructor situation right now, and I want to figure out something there. I'm not a fan of the complexity being added by the fact that we have constructors, but I also don't feel like we can completely get rid of them. So it's got to go one way or the other. We've got to either make them better or get rid of them and replace them with something else. And I'm not sure which of those things is correct or should happen. I don't think, I heard about this Elon Musk tweet. Look, I don't think that just because he tweeted that C++ is bad, that means that he follows the language or knows anything about what I'm doing. Don't be presumptuous. Busy people are busy. How long have I been developing this engine? Well, you could say since 2016. How long do I plan to work on it before releasing it? When it's done. When it is done. You run at compile time. Is this backed up by an entire interpreter? Yes. That is how that works. You want to use this for your game? Is still C++ the best thing to learn now? I don't know. I mean, learn whatever you want. I mean, C++ is a really, it's difficult to learn because it's so large and complicated and nonsensical. So, you know, for the fun of learning a language, some other language might be better, honestly. Performance-wise, if you're going to try to build a real game, you still want to do that in C or C++ because nothing else is really in the same league. But that may change over time. Do the 2 quick lambdas in the quicksort calls I did get deduplicated? No, they don't. The reason is because we only deduplicate different polymorphs of like the same procedure text, but that looks like 2 different procedures. We don't compare the bodies of the procedures to realize they're the same. So no, in that case, we would generate 2 different things that are identical. We could fix that at some point, but it doesn't seem like a big problem. Does the compiler remove unused code? Not right now. That should be very easy to add because we know what gets used and what doesn't. And I'm thinking that we will actually add lazy compilation for procedure bodies so that if you don't call a procedure or use it by value or something, like assign it to a procedure pointer, then it just never will even get it'll get parsed, but nothing past parsing will happen. And I think that'll speed up the compiler a fair bit once you start pulling in bigger libraries. Are we doing any code optimizations when not compiling to LLVM or C? No. No optimizations in the x64 backend for now. We might do some later just because when you do a small number of simple optimizations, it tends to actually be faster because you output less code and it balances out. But for the near future, x64 is for fast compile time. It's not for optimization. How much processing is done on assets in release mode? Not that much right now. In fact, our textures aren't even compressed most of the time. We just load bitmaps. We don't do texture compression yet. So we will do that. We just don't do it right now. Eventually it'll become intractable, like we'll start up too slowly from loading all these bitmaps. Is it possible to do Windows COM stuff? Yes. It is pretty easy. Whether that's a good idea, I leave open to you, but you could do it. Is learning C or C++ really important to start with when your first project is probably going to use an engine doing most of the critical work? I don't know. I mean, what engine? You're saying most of the critical work, so does the rest of the critical work involve programming? If so, what language? You got to be more specific about these things. Got to be more specific. How do you decide what games projects are worth working on? Abandon things often? No, I don't abandon things hardly ever. I used to abandon things all the time, and then I figured out how life should work for me, and now I don't. It's a thing that you get the hang of eventually. Why not do everything in C? Lol. All right. What do I do to stay motivated in my projects? I don't have a motivation problem generally. Again, there's some level of maturity you reach where you've done enough hard things that you know it's going to get hard, and it being hard doesn't demotivate you. So then it's just about knowing that what you're doing is important, which hopefully it is. If it's not important, then maybe you shouldn't be motivated, right? So don't assume that you should be motivated. You really, if you're not motivated, you should be finding the thing that you will be motivated about. Any success in finding new patterns in invisible cities? I haven't looked at it again since that speech. What's the equivalent of constexpr? There are things in the language that are guaranteed to be constant expressions, but it's not that important. It's not like in C++ where it's super important. Here it's just, you know, it's basically those are the things you can put on the right hand of a : declaration, which in reality is not a super important thing. Would it be possible to compile this to WebAssembly? In theory, you could, because we have an LLVM backend. I think you could just make that output WebAssembly, I guess. I've never done it. There's a couple of other places where constexprs come into play, like right now. We only allow default arguments to procedures to be constant. We could, in theory, let them be non-constant, but we require them to be constant right now. What else? Array dimensions, right? If you declare an array of a certain size, that has to be constant right now. We don't allow variable sized arrays on the stack like C does now. C didn't used to allow that, but now it does, I think. We should probably do that, but we don't. You guessed what you meant was something that enables compile time string hashing. Is that of any importance or interest? You can already do compile time string hashing. It's easy. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. In get font, do bitmaps for all ASCII character get created or just in draw font? And how many get cached? They only get created at draw time. Except I think we preemptively create all the lowercase letters or something. All the lowercase Latin letters. I don't know. But like if you're drawing something like Chinese, you don't want to pre-compute all the characters. That's bananas. You'll just die. So yeah, we do it on demand. Didn't variable sized arrays on the stack in C break optimizations or something? I don't know. I'm not sure what happens when you do that. It's not something that I do very often, but I've already had people complain to me about it that we don't support it directly. So I don't know. Probably need to do something. Any plans to create my own text editor in the future? I wouldn't mind doing that, but I've got enough to do in the near term. There's just a lot happening. I believe we're using STB TrueType right now. Maybe we're using FreeType. Let's go look. I forget which one of those we're using. I've switched at some point. We're using FreeType right now to generate the rasterizations. What do I think about Ready at Dawn announcing they are switching to Rust? I think it's an interesting experiment. I personally would not switch to Rust, but I'm glad that they're trying things. And maybe they will like Rust. I mean, I get the feeling they've already experimented with it substantially, so that's cool. Yeah, I haven't seriously thought about making a shooter in many, many years, but I would consider making the good version of PUBG. That would be pretty good. It'd be such a good game, man. What do I think about Go Lang? It's not that interesting to me. I don't really like most of the design decisions. I disagree with most of them. And whenever Rob Pike talks about it, his speeches just make me angry. So I don't like Go that much. What do I think a good PUBG would need? I don't want to give people my ideas for good PUBG because I want to save it so that we can do it someday, maybe. It'll have to be years from now after the current Battle Royale phase dies down, craze dies down. But we could be good. Could be good. All right, folks, thanks for stopping by. I am going to go to sleep. We will do more audio debugging streams later this week. And we'll see what happens. Good night, everybody. Let's figure out who to host. Let's figure out who to host. We haven't hosted in a while. Game development. Cardo again. We've hosted him before. Substance designer. Anyone see anything really appealing on here? Someone playing Subnautica. We don't want to do that. We want to host programming, not playing. All these people with 2 viewers. Nothing seems to be happening on this channel. Okay. Soul Engine. Is that here? What? Does it sound cool because it sounds cool? Oh, dude. All right. We could host this. We'll host this. Thanks, everybody, for stopping by.
Oh.